morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Steve. Good morning, Nudelberg, Daily Huddle. Good morning, LinkedIn. Good morning to everybody. It's a great Friday. Excited to be here with everyone.
We have a very, very, very special guest this morning who will be sitting in the hot seat. And man, when you hear this story, the seat is on fire. There is no doubt about it. And you're going to learn real life what dealing with adversity and perseverance and all of the stuff that we preach and talk about all the time. You're going to hear it real time from
mental toughness at a level that I've not seen from anybody else.
Yeah, incredible, man. So I'm excited to share that. A couple of housekeeping things. Yesterday, I got out in the community and went to visit my friend Keith Costello, who is a lifelong banker, and he has started a new bank called Locality Bank. It's a digital bank. They're super cool in technology. And so it was great sitting with him, BSing. I got my Locality mug and my hat and got all of my swag. They are excited to work with us to help their new sales team get started. So super cool. Shout out to Keith Costello. You're doing some great things. And they actually got me to open a bank account. So.
I was going to say you got closed while you were there.
my question was going to be, does Sam know?
Right. Yeah, right.
I didn't hear you.
Well, so this is like, this is family business. Let's talk about this. So like, I see the post from Keith that like you came by, you had coffee, and you opened a bank. And thank you for doing business with us, having a bank account. And I was like, did he open an on the ball account there? Like, has he talked to Sam about this yet? Like, wait a minute. Shouldn't we have had a conversation about this first?
Here's my philosophy. I want to help small business, small community business. Yeah. So I took a chunk of change and I said, here, I'll put it here. What's the difference? I moved it from one to the other. And it was great. And I enjoyed it and I'm happy to do it. So congratulations to Keith. And then last night, imagine this, I drove to Coral Gables, which for people who don't know the area that we live in, I might as well have gone to Atlanta. You know what I mean? It was crazy. But I went down there to join my friend Matt DiGregorio. He put together, there were 80 CEOs there. Mark, I don't know if you know Dimitri, but Dimitri was the backbone to Real Connects.
Okay.
And one of the coolest entrepreneurs, real tech savvy, amazing. And we rekindled, and he's working on it. And that young lady, Paula, has a company called there. What's that?
So there's Dimitri right there in the huddle.
There he is. Look at that. He's here. Good morning. Good morning, my brother. So anyway, so housekeeping, it's still cool to go out. I had not really been out all day. And then this morning after this, I get to sit down and have coffee with the one and only Joy Linsky. So
love that. And I was out yesterday as well. I got the opportunity to be on the committee for the Mayor's Gala this year, which room was filled with great people. Appreciate Jen Starkey, who is the co-chair, for inviting me to be on that, and Stephen Moss, who was the co-chair and one of the partners of Holland at Night, which is where they hosted us last night. Beautiful office. So it was great stuff going on there. Excited about that event. And then I will be out this morning at our Weston Jewelers location at the Hard Rock doing some work there. So we're out and about as well.
It's kind of cool, man. Getting out again. It does work, shaking hands.
Hybrid, baby. All about the hybrid.
It was really fun because as the crowd got bigger, I went and sat down, and this was my strategy. I waited for people to come to me, good or bad, and they did. And so when I was leaving, Matt says to me, he goes, I should probably be coaching you. And I go, about what? He goes, you never sit down at a networking event. I go, let me ask you a question. How many other people were sitting down? He goes, none. I was the only one. And then, coincidentally, it's Danielle from Holland and Night said they did go to him. So
I love it.
Just great shit. So we'll get some wake up music. We have walk up music for our friend Scott, and then we're going to get into some deep conversation about what we spoke about. So let's rock. Let's go.
Wake up, everybody. Get up, get up, get up, get up. Wake up. Come on, come on. Wake up, everybody. Teach a new way. Maybe then now listen what you have to say. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in there. No more backward thinking. Time for thinking ahead. Come on.
So, Mark, I'm going to let you steer the interview, but I'm going to, I created some, I found some walk-up music from Mr. MacGregor, and God, is this appropriate? Go.
No one told you life was gonna be this way. Your job's a joke, you broke, your love life the way. It's like you're always stuck in second gear, when it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year. But I'll be there for you when the rain starts to fall. I'll be there for you when the big never goes. I'll be there for you. I'll be there for you too.
Welcome to the Nudelberg Daily Huddle. Scott MacGregor. Couldn't be any more appropriate music. I mean, Scott is one of the first people that I met as I entered into my entrepreneurial journey, and has been somebody that's been there for me over the past 4 years. So we're excited to have the opportunity to be here for you today. Scott, thanks for being here.
I appreciate it. Anytime I'm sandwiched in the intro between Kim Kaup and Dave Wanstead, that's, you've made it. You've made it. So thank you guys. I appreciate you guys big time.
So here's a little backstory. This week we did Scott's, one of Scott's podcasts where he celebrates authors. We kicked off the year, had a great audience. Scott, you could not have been a better interviewer. I said that. You really stoked the fire, but to kick us off, you never really know what's going on behind the curtain. So tell us what's happening.
Yeah. So, I think you're referring to the post I put up yesterday.
Yeah. The post yesterday, which to me, I'm sure a ton of people saw it because I know it got a ton of traction, but you are out and in front with a smiling face and leading the charge for doing things the right way and positivity. And the post you put out yesterday, I know it rocked me to my core. Please share what's going on.
Yeah. So, I have a son. My oldest son is 29 years old. He is missing. He left a psychiatric facility on January 5th, and we haven't seen him, or no one knows where he is. He's been homeless. He's been dealing with mental health issues and severe drug addiction since he was left the Marine Corps. And I think for a lot of people, I've talked one-on-one with a lot of people about the struggles that I've seen that we've gone to together as a family over the last decade. But I've never really talked about it publicly. But yesterday, because we are trying to find him, it's winter here in Connecticut, and we're concerned. I just said, you know what, I'm going to throw a Hail Mary and see what this incredible community that supported me can do. And, flooded with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of emails and text messages and phone calls of support. I guess what I want everybody to know is that while that might have been news to everybody and surprising, it's just, and I'm not trying to minimize it, it's just a couple pages in a chapter in a very big book. And if every time one of these things happened, and I think that's what's surprising people, it's like, wow, we've kind of known you either through social media or, they just know me. They had no idea. And I'm not embarrassed to talk about it. I hope I can help people. You're seeing this happen in kind of real time. But yeah, there's a lot of lessons here, and I hope that if I can help one person, then I'm glad. And if we can find Tucker, then I'm glad I put it out there.
I want to kind of dig into it a little bit, because the ability to be who you are in the face of that kind of adversity is a superpower. And I know it's something that you've had to work at. Like you said, this is just a couple pages in an entire book. You had referenced to me that, you knew early on, as far as 3 years old, that he had some, mental health issues. What does the process look like in coming to grips with that and figuring out how to, I don't know whether the right word is compartmentalize or put that in its place and still be able to operate the way you need to for yourself?
Yeah, it can consume you. And I've seen so many people where life circumstances literally swallow them whole. And I guess early on, I grew up in a very kind of crazy way. And I've had lots and lots and lots of very significant adversity beyond what's happening with Tucker. And I believe in that oxygen mask thing. Like, I can't help my kids. I can't be the husband that I want to be. I can't be the friend that I want to be. I can't be the business owner that I want to be. I can't do good things in this world if I let life circumstances swallow me whole. So I have to take care of myself first. And yes, when my kids were younger, it's very intense. It's very consuming. As they get older, you start to realize I can't live their life. The choices that they make are the choices that they make. And my responsibility is to let my kids know that I love them unconditionally and that I'm here to support them and to give them advice. But ultimately, they need to make the decisions for themselves. And, sometimes we make good decisions and sometimes we make bad decisions. But I would say that the combination of mental health issues and significant drug abuse, heroin, methadone, or not methadone, it's a brutal combination.
So you referenced your oxygen mask, right? And not allowing the environment to consume you. What is your oxygen mask? Is it working out? Is it reading? Is it a combination? How do you, in moments like this, or what process have you developed from when they were young and dealing with this? How do you put your armor on every day to do that?
Yeah, I definitely compartmentalize stuff. I don't let things consume me. And I always keep in mind that I'm never a victim. Like, I'm never a victim. Yesterday, I wore Jason Redman. He's a good friend of mine. He was a Navy SEAL who was severely wounded in combat. And I wore his No Bad Days shirt. And, I'm not a victim. There are people in this very moment where I don't know where my son is, and I don't know whether he is alive, that would trade places with me in a nanosecond. So I don't feel sorry for myself. I'm not a victim. These are all moments in time. The kind of this will pass. It will. I mean, it's you just can't get sucked into a vortex of being a victim or feeling sorry for yourself. I also, the thing I I focus on all the time is impact. I want to make an impact in the world.
So it's I want to unpack this for people. This was not planned because of this. We did your event on Tuesday. It was all joyous. It was great. We had no idea what was going on in the backdrop. Then we said, hey, why don't you do our Huddler in the hot seat on Friday? Great. Boom, boom, boom. You dropped that message in the world yesterday, which I'm grateful for social media that you could do that one click and get to that many people.
Yep.
And it showed me there were people I know in Hartford who said, I know this person and I know this person and we'll be on the look. But it comes down to, and we reached back out to you and said, listen, we understand if you want to pass on doing this. And you had a choice. And you said, absolutely not. If there's somebody that can learn from this experience, if I can share it with somebody and they get some understanding of the control they do have, not focusing on the control they don't have. Mark talks about all the time, control the controllables. So it's a choice that you have made, a very difficult one. I mean, one, I think we all have our battles. We all have our demons. But when they hit home like this, there isn't one parent that's watching this that can't, at least, think like, holy shit, man, I can't even imagine this. Mark was sitting there with his 9-month-old with Jules and going, oh, I can't fathom it. You never fathomed it. So I want to focus on the choice. And to, going back to Mark's question, choices are difficult, but you need to have some support. And so you obviously have a great wife. You obviously have this community, and you chose to lean on the community, which is a big, big, big takeaway.
Yeah, I mean, the support that I've gotten, the support I've had my whole life has been great. And I have an incredible wife. Meg is amazing. Wouldn't have started my businesses without her. And certainly these times would be a lot more challenging without that support, because she sees everything. But I don't cancel stuff. Because I think when you start to succumb to these things that you're dealing with in the moment, you tend to become a victim. And then I always think, like, what am I going to do? I'm not going to lay on the couch. I'm not going to curl up in the fetal position. All I can do is take action and have a positive impact. So I had, a lot of meetings yesterday. I have a lot of meetings today. I hope I can help people in those meetings. Yes, we're on a search for Tucker, but that can't be my 24/7 existence, because it will consume me. It will swallow me up.
So what Lori says, when you have the courage to be vulnerable and share the challenge, I think that's one of the biggest hurdles in this world. Is it's not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength. Incredible strength, and Mark, when you worked with Trevor Moad and, Russell Wilson, and you talked about neutrality, how difficult that is to get to that place. I spoke to Tim Rappold yesterday about neutrality, living in that place where you're above your circumstances.
Scott, I have a question. It might be a difficult one, but for me, I know that because they're little, I feel guilt if I say yes to a meeting when there's obligations for the kids, or I struggle with where do I draw the line and say, no, they're the most important and I need to be there for them. And where do I say, no, I need to feed myself, or I need to, build the business because that's what we're doing. Do you have guilt? Is there guilt involved? How do you manage where you say, I can't allow it to consume me? It can't be my 24/7 thing, because they're adults and they can make their own decisions. But how do you manage that?
A couple things. First is, I don't care what other people think. I know what I've done my entire life. I never missed a a practice I never missed. I coached probably every sport they ever played. I never missed a school meeting, and both of my children had special needs, so we were constantly in PPTs. And later on, I spent a lot of time in the principal's office when they were getting suspended and all kinds of stuff. So I don't have guilt, because I know in my heart what I've done, and I was always omnipresent. If anything, there were times, I remember this even in grade school, we'd be like, where are all the dads? And I was a chief revenue officer. I had a pretty crazy job. I was also a single dad for a long period of time. So their mom left and moved to Florida to be with a boyfriend, and I had to raise a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old by myself, being a CRO in a hyper-growth startup. It was crazy times, but I never missed any of that stuff. So I don't have guilt, because and I got, believe it or not, I got messages yesterday, like very hateful messages.
Oh,
people.
Really?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I can see that.
Just people that are hurting themselves, that they don't know me, but they blamed, it's your fault, it's your ambition, it's your this, it's your that. It's like,
right.
I feel sorry for them.
Right.
They don't know anything about the circumstance. But yeah, you get that. But I think when you know in your heart what you've done and what you haven't done, it either impacts you or it doesn't. Those messages didn't impact me. As a matter of fact, I sent messages back to all of them just saying, like, thanks for the support. Thanks for reposting. A couple people said, like, hey, I'm going to repost this even though I think you're a piece of whatever.
Oh my God.
It's unfathomable to me. It really is, that somebody could, have any kind of negative feeling about this other than empathy and what can I do to help. I just...
Yeah, people are hurting though.
Yes, you have unbelievable perspective and understanding to recognize through your own pain or through your own struggle, and have somebody lash out at you, to be able to have that grace for them is incredible. And I have a question. Do you think that some of that capacity or compassion came from your upbringing, came from growing up
Definitely.
in a dysfunctional family and being so driven to not repeat that or have it be different?
Yeah, I definitely. I don't know if it's like just my DNA or who knows, but I do think we're a function of, life is cumulative, and, there was lots of craziness in the way that I grew up, and I've had lots of adversity. I grew up poor in an affluent town, which is a weird way to grow up. And I've wound up, with financial freedom. I grew up myself with a learning disability. I graduated from college with honors. I have massive anxiety. And I've successfully run a couple companies and built companies. I have a heart condition called Brugada syndrome that's also known as sudden unexpected death syndrome. And I've climbed the equivalent of Mount Everest in a weekend. I'm not a victim. I'll never be a victim.
Unbelievable way to end the week. I just,
so Scott,
that comment, I'm not a victim. I wrote about victimhood in a post earlier this week.
Correct.
I've had nowhere near the amount of adversity that you've had, but I've dealt with traumatic moments in my life and had trauma. And I believe that is the thing that's always served me well,
right? Is
the refusal to believe that I didn't have some kind of responsibility, or I didn't have some kind of role in getting out of it, and taking that philosophy and that mindset.
I do just want to say this before we end, that I really believe adversity is a gift. And I say it, and people have heard me say it, but maybe they don't know the context of my backstory or any of that. But adversity is what has built insane resiliency, so that these moments, does it hurt my heart? It hurts my heart. But am I going to be okay? I'm going to be okay. And I'm going to make sure that I continue to make a positive impact, because I built insane resiliency. It's just like going to the gym. It's like, these are moments in time. So if you've lost a job, if you've gone through a divorce, if you've had a health issue, if you're scared about the recession, if you're worried about COVID or anything, these are just moments in time, and they're going to make you stronger, and they're going to make you more capable of weathering the next storm. Because that's one thing that I've known my whole life, is that there's always another storm. And it's just a matter of how strong you are to make it through that storm. So adversity is a gift. I don't wish this on anybody, and I wish it wasn't happening, but I can't wish things away. It's reality. This is happening right now in real time, but this is making me stronger, because I don't know what the future holds. But
Incredible.
I
It's a
think
mic
that's
drop moment right there. Like,
Scott, what can this audience, obviously we're going to ask them to pray. I totally believe in the power of prayer. So all of us collectively, huddlers, will be praying. But what can each of us do to help this situation?
Yeah, prayer, reach out to other people. Nothing about, this situation that we're going through, not knowing where Tucker is. I don't think anyone can really do a lot. I mean, I hope that the collective social media presence can somehow help us find him, but just know that there are people that are going through stuff, and help support them in any way that you can, because however many people there are in this call today, or in any group that I'm ever in, I always know that 30-40% are going through heavy shit, and that's the kind of no victim mentality.
Thank
So
you,
I don't know
Scott.
if that makes any sense
Yeah,
at all.
no, it makes a ton of sense. And your drive to create an impact regardless of circumstance, and then your call to action for people to create an impact, not about your situation, but just within the world that they can create an impact in, is, again, you're an unbelievable human being. And I am so grateful that I know you, so grateful for all that you've done for me. And I just, I pray that something good happens here. Thank you, Scott.
I appreciate it.
Love
You got it. Fantastic Nudelberg Daily Huddle. Great way to end the week. Everybody have a blessed weekend. We will see you on Monday. Let's get down to business.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business.